Okay, hey there, YouTube. Wanted to make a quick video here on a topic in terms of automating finances. So the issue that, or an issue that I've seen is that in a lot of blog posts and podcasts and stuff talking about automating finances, what I've seen usually have been some kind of common sense standard tips. So things like, make sure to, to automatically invest with your brokerage provider, or set up automatic transfers, set up automatic bill pay for your different bills that you're paying for, things like that. So all that stuff's good. However, I think that there's a little bit more to it that I want to kind of go into in this video. So I think it's possible to set all of that up. So you can set up bill pay with all of your providers. You can set up automatic investing, automatic savings, and things like that, and that helps. However, when you get to the end of the process, it can feel really chaotic. It can feel really like you've got you know 9 different billing providers pulling money from a bunch of different accounts, and it can feel a little bit kind of overwhelming to kind of keep control of it. So I wanted to kind of demo or just show so a couple ideas and talk about the pros and cons of different ways to structure this. So to start out with, let's look at this one. So this is kind of the initial approach that I'm thinking of here for automating finances. So basically, you have an employer, some kind of job that you work at, and every couple of weeks, every month, or however often, they direct deposit money into your bank over here. So here's your bank. Inside of your bank, let's say that you have a checking account, and then you have an account that you pay your bills with. So every so often your employer direct deposits some money into your checking account, which you've set up for a direct deposit, and then every time you get a paycheck, let's say that you have a rule to automatically transfer, however much money into your bills account every paycheck. So for example, let's say your bills total up to $1,000. So we transfer $1,000 into this bill account every paycheck. Right. So easy enough. So let's say that you get paid once every month. Then once every month you get a certain amount of money that goes into checking. You transfer $1,000 of that into your billing account, and then so let's say, for example, $1,500 is deposited per month. So every month you transfer 1,000 into bills, and then you have 500 left over sitting in your checking account after that to do whatever with. All right, so simple enough. You set that up. Now you go into all of your billing providers. So for example, your cell phone service, internet, auto insurance, electricity, streaming, etc. So you have any number of billing providers here. And then you set up automatic payments with each of these. So for example, every month you have your cell phone bill automatically taken out of your billing account here. A couple times per year, you have your internet bill taken out of this account. Every year you have your auto insurance taken out. Maybe electricity, you get that every month. Maybe you have a streaming service, and a couple times per year you pull the money out of there. And things like that. So basically all of your bills, they're all pulling from this one large checking account here, and they're doing it on different schedules, according to however you have that set up. And for the sake of example, say this one renews in June, this one renews in March, this one renews in September. So they're kind of renewing, each of these longer term bills are renewing at different time periods throughout the year. Right, so this is an example set up here of kind of how to do this. And the good thing is that, on a week-to-week basis, you don't have to log into your bank and click any buttons to do anything. All the money is getting taken out automatically from all these billing providers. However, it can be tricky to work with. And so over here, I have some kind of problems kind of called out here to think about. So first problem here is So right now we're transferring $1,000 into this billing account every paycheck. So the first question is, what do you do whenever one of your bills change? So let's say maybe your internet bill, you get notified that it's going up $10 per month. Or it's going up, $50 a year. So what do you do here? Well, you have to increase this from, if you're doing $50 a year, uh, well, let's do $10 a month. That's easier for the math. So you have to change this to do $1,010 to account for that increase in the cost here. Right, so that's easy enough. You can do that, but it's kind of confusing. It's so let's say you do that, and then maybe a couple months go by, and your cell phone bill goes up by an extra $20 a month. All right, now you're doing 1,030 every paycheck, or then let's say that another couple months goes by, and you get a cheaper auto insurance rate, and you save $60 a month on that. So now you're paying, what's that? That's $970 every paycheck, right? So as this value changes, in this example, you're going from 1,000 to 1,010 to 970, or maybe there's another one in there. But it's the value that you're transferring over here. It's constantly changing over time. And the amount that you're changing, it doesn't have any relation to any of the individual bills you're paying. It's the amount you're transferring. It's the sum total of all the individual bills here. And so, when you come back to this 6 months or a year from now, you'll have a number here that you're transferring every paycheck, but it'll be kind of confusing how you got the number, and you have to kind of go back and you have to run the numbers every month or every time that changes to. That gets kind of a little bit tiring. So that's it's it's definitely doable, but it's just kind of some maintenance and some overhead that's a little bit annoying. Next problem here, you're gonna have a confusing transaction history because every time you transfer your billing money over here, the only thing that's going to show up in your bank accounts is going to be, all right, there was a $970 transfer from checking to bills, and then on a month-to-month basis. So you're going to have your cell phone bill is going to be taken out of here. So there's going to be there's going to be some money that goes out for the cell phone. There's going to be some money that goes out for electricity. On some months, you're going to have an internet bill go out, but not all months. Some months you'll have auto insurance go out, but it'll be pretty rare. And since these are renewing at different times throughout the year, it's the transaction history inside of this account here. It's going to be really confusing because there's there's going to be from month to month the amount that's taken out, and for what reason it's going to vary quite a bit. So it's just looking at the transaction history. It's going to be hard to understand what's going on. All right. Another issue here with the billing schedules, because they're inconsistent and across the board. So some of the stuff's monthly, some of it's biannually, some of it's annually, and the longer term expenses they're renewing at different times. Because of all that, it's going to be hard to plan ahead for expenses. Because so this one renews in June, this one renews in March, and this one renews in September. So unless you note that down somewhere and you set up some reminders on your calendar or something, that's as time goes on, that stuff's just going to kind of come in randomly, and you'll not be planning ahead for it, just because it's too much to keep track of. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's a lot of effort in my mind. So that kind of makes it difficult to plan ahead. So another problem there. All right, another issue here with the billing schedules. Because they're all over the place and spread throughout the year, your spending is going to be kind of spread throughout different months throughout the year. And so one nice thing, if you can synchronize the billing schedules here, then you can use that to take advantage of rewards programs for spending, and we'll get back to that in a minute here. Another problem here, because you have some monthly bills and some biannual ones, usually if you sign up for a longer period of time, you can get lower pricing on a per month basis. And so you're losing out on that benefit by going with this kind of scheduling here. So, thing to be aware of. And this is one of the main things in my mind. It's with this system, it's kind of difficult to set it and forget it, because as things change with these different billing providers, and you just have like a big bucket of money right here. It's hard to say, how much money do you need to be inside of this overall account at any given time in order to account for, being able to support all of your bills coming in and being able to support any future annual expenses or biannual expenses. It feels like a thing that you have to kind of keep a close eye on to make sure that you don't accidentally overdraw or mess something up. So yeah, difficult to set it and forget it. Another issue here is that if one of your billing providers charges you more than expected, that because all of your providers are pulling from the same account at your bank, that could impact another provider. So, as an example, let's say that you have $500 sitting in this account right now, and your auto insurance renews, and normally it renews for $450 per month or per year. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers here. So after that, you have $50 left in your account, and let's say that your internet is I don't know, $30 per month. All right. So after you take those out, you have $20 left in your account. However, let's say that your auto insurance, some kind of fee comes up and they charge an extra, $50 or something like that for whatever reason. All right, so that happens. Now you're at negative $30 in here, and you've overdrafted the account, and then you get to deal with all the fees and the pain that comes with that. So because all of your bills are coming out of one big account, if there's any extra fees or any extra issues that come up in one of these providers, since everybody's pulling from this one big account, an issue over here could impact your internet or electricity bill or something like that, potentially. It's probably going to be pretty rare, but it's possible because everything's kind of pulled together. So anyways, so that's this approach, and those are the downsides of the approach. So now let's look at this other approach and the benefits of it. So of course this isn't 100% fair analysis because I'm only showing the downsides of the first approach. I'm only showing the upsides of this approach. But I think it's interesting to discuss. All right, so here's the more structured approach here, where every so often your employer direct deposits money into your checking account at your bank, and then inside of your banking accounts, you have separate accounts for each of your bills. So you have a cell phone checking account, an internet checking account, electricity, streaming services checking account, etc. So all right, so you set that up, and then every paycheck that comes in, you transfer money to those accounts for each bill. So for example, let's say for cell phone you need $30 a month or $30 a paycheck or whatever. For streaming services you need $15 a paycheck. For auto insurance you need $50. Yes, something like that. So you transfer whatever amount you need for each bill into the appropriate checking account here. Right. All right, so you do that. And then for each of your billing providers over here, so for example, your cell phone, you set them up to pull the money from their corresponding account. So instead of each of your billing providers pulling from one common account, your cell phone provider pulls from your cell phone account, internet provider from your internet account, auto insurance from your auto insurance account, electricity from your electricity account, etc. All right, so you do that. And then ideally, you also synchronize all your billing schedules. So for example, for all of these bills, ideally you would set them up so that they're all running annually, and so that you get the cheaper per month prices. And for example, you have them renew on April 1st. Right, so you do that, and then whenever April 1st comes around every year, you know that all this stuff is going to be coming out. So this is kind of the second approach here. So to look at the benefits of this, all right, so every month, the amount that you need to transfer into each of your accounts, it's very predictable and understandable, right? So, for example, if I have a $15 a month streaming service, I need to transfer $15 every month or every paycheck into this account. And that's it. I don't have to do any crazy math where I add up the cost of all my different services and then transfer a big bulk sum of $1,000 like we did with the previous approach. You're just transferring in the amount that you need for streaming services into the account. So really easy to understand there. Another benefit, your transaction history is going to be very clear because each month or each paycheck you have $15 going into here, and then you should have $15 coming out from the streaming service, and that should be pretty much the transaction history. If anything else shows up in there, then it should stick out kind of like a sore thumb. So that'll be handy. And having a clear transaction history is going to make it easier in the future to look for unexpected expenses and things like that. Now, of course, one thing you might want to do here, so if you're going that approach of, say, like deposit 15 into here and take out 15 each month, then you might want to leave an extra month worth of expenses, like leave an extra $15 sitting in the account that you don't touch, for example, in case the provider has any unexpected fees or anything. So just to make sure you don't accidentally overdraw. So you might want to leave like a certain amount there to account for that unpredictability. All right, so you got that. Your transaction history is clear. The single renewal date, that's going to make things really nice because instead of having it, so let's compare. So I have, and we're just showing 5 bills here. This could be easily 10, 15, 20 bills, or maybe that's going a little bit extreme, but however many bills you have, all of them here renew on April 1st. Compare that to if you look at the previous diagram. Here we have some bills that renew each month. We have some bills that renew in March each year. We have some that renew a couple times per year, starting in September, a couple times per year, starting in June. And so it's kind of all over the place whenever you're going to get billed for something. So this is going to be very hard to keep track of. And you compare that to this, where all you got to remember is April 1st each year my bills are coming in, and so I need to make sure I have the money set aside to deal with that. So much easier mentally and less kind of overhead to think about there. So and of course the other benefit here is that you can use this to take advantage of things like credit card sign up programs. So as an example, so because you've switched to yearly billing here, whenever April 1st comes around, you're going to have a relatively large expense in each of these categories. So for example, let's say for cell phone, maybe it's $200 a year. I don't know. For internet, let's say it's $600 a year. Auto insurance, say it's $1,000 a year. And these are just made up numbers, but electricity, $2,000 a year. Streaming service, maybe $250 a year or something like that. All right. So because you're doing all this annually and you're renewing them all at the same time, let's do a calculator here. So on April 1st, you'll have to pay out 2,000, 1,000, 250, 600, 200. On April 1st, you'll have a $4,050 expense that you'll have to pay out to your different billing providers. So, all right, so that seems a little bit worrisome all at once, but however, it's a one-time $4,000 expense. And so for credit card programs, that's a great opportunity, because let's say you find a credit card that has a sign-up bonus where, let's say if you spend $3,000, you get back, I don't know, $300 in cash back or something like that, right? So you sign up for that credit card before April 1st. You pay all of these bills here with that credit card, and then you get $300 in cash back. So effectively, instead of paying $4,050 per year for your expenses, for your bills, you're paying what, 3,000? What is that? Minus 300 is 7. Yeah, 3,750. Right. So you're by coordinating everything to kind of fire off at the same time, you can do things like this to potentially save hundreds of dollars on your yearly expenses, uh, assuming uh, that you do it correctly and that you don't abuse the credit card and things like that. If you do it the right way, it's possible to use this to um, save some money. And plus, you also get the lower uh, monthly rate. So maybe it knocks a couple dollars per month off of all your bills. So when you combine that, so you're saving a few dollars per month on each of your bills because you're paying annually, plus you're saving a few $100s per year because you're adding like a credit card sign up bonus or something to it. You add those things together, and it gives you substantial savings each year. So there's that. So it makes your expenses predictable. You can take advantage of credit card sign up programs. It gives you the cheaper prices every month because you're paying for a year at once, things like that. In my expectation here is that this system's going to be a lot easier to set it and forget it, right? Because like think about, all right, if I have a $50 a month internet bill and I have a $15 a month streaming service bill. Okay, if I set up automatic transfers to these accounts to do this, like I could be pretty well assured that things are just going to work for me, month after month, and I shouldn't have to log in and take a look at it and make sure nothing's going wrong or anything, because I signed up for this service at this price, and you should be able to expect some predictable pricing there. So when you have that predictable pricing, and everything's kind of broken out like this, it should be easy to kind of set it and leave it there and not think about it a lot. Compare this to over here, where you have all these different providers. They're all kind of mixed in together, and you're transferring over this lump sum. Like it might not end up working out, but in my mind, this is a lot harder to just kind of trust that the system's going to work. Right? Because if anything changes, then this amount needs to change, and you have to do calculations, and it's just a pain. So my expectation is that this is going to be a lot easier to set it and forget it. And then kind of a last benefit here is that if one of your billing providers overdraws from their account, it shouldn't impact any of the other billing providers. So for example, let's say you have $15 sitting in your streaming services account, and then one of your streaming services ups the price to $20, and you forget to update this. Okay, so then they take $20 out of your account, so you have, negative $5, right? So you've overdrawn on the streaming services account here. All right, so the good thing is, whenever the electricity provider goes to pull their stuff out, because they're not hooked into the same checking account as your streaming services, you're not going to get multiple providers trying to pull money out of the same overdrawn account. It's kind of, it limits the damage of the overdraw just to the one account where there's an issue. Whereas if everybody's pulling out of this, if everybody's pulling out of the one streaming services account, yeah, let's say that yeah 3 or 4 of them all pull out of here, then you're getting multiple overdraft charges and issues and stuff. So it kind of limits the risk anytime there's an issue just to that one provider. So kind of a nice benefit there. So anyways, so that's my spiel on this. Wanted to go through all that because yeah, like I've seen a lot of talk about like just set up auto pay for all of your different bills and stuff and forget about it. But in my mind, it's hard to forget about when there's going back over here. Something like this is kind of hard to just kind of forget about it and leave it running because there's the way everything's kind of dependent on each other and the way things can kind of get messed up. I don't think it's conducive to that kind of setup. So anyways, that's all for now. Thanks for listening.